started now. Thanks everybody for attending the October 2020 Barrier Busters meeting. Just so everyone knows, I will be recording this. We're going to see if we can actually upload video. So for those folks who missed today's meeting, that they can come back and watch it later. We're going to do things a little bit differently. Before Krista starts her presentation on the ACA updates, I'm going to ask Kara from Hawk to just provide a brief update on what's going on with Hawk. So Kara, if you want to unmute yourself and just give a little spiel, that'd be great.
Yeah, hi everyone. I miss seeing everyone, but I'm so glad that we're still able to do this. Thank God for technology. I'm so glad that we're still able to meet. I wanted to give an update on where things are at with Hawk, so you guys know what's going on in our world. So as many of you probably already know, Hawk received funding through the eviction diversion program. The state of Michigan actually allocated $50 million to housing assessment and resource agencies such as ours to help those who were affected by the pandemic with paying their back rent that they might have owed due to the pandemic. So with this program, tenants do have to have at minimum a 7-day notice. So there still has to be a public record of eviction, but it is a little different than our typical funding, which normally would require a court summons. And the income guidelines are significantly higher. It's up to 100% of area median income. I don't know all of them off the top of my head, but just to give you a rough idea of what that is for one person, it's $71,000 annually. So they are significantly higher than our other funding. And clients are eligible for up to $3,500 in back rent and up to $1,200 in future rent going forward. So, and this program is really unique because it uses a settlement agreement or a conditional dismissal as opposed to a judgment. And this means that once the terms of of everything are met, then it will come off of their rental history. It will protect their credit. So it's a good thing. The best way for if clients are behind on their rent and they receive a 7-day notice, it's best for them to give our intake line a call. I can drop that number in the chat. But please, 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 if you have folks that you're working with that are behind on their rent, please have them call us. This program, the money is supposed to be spent by December 31st. So it is time limited. So please, if you have folks that are behind, please have them call us. And I will also drop my contact information in the chat as well in case any of you have questions or concerns about the EDP or Hawk in general. I'm always available. You can always call me, email me, anything. I love to talk, so please call me.
Thanks, Kara. Does anyone have any questions? Feel free to either drop a question into the chat or unmute yourself. Okay, seeing none, we're going to turn things over to Krista over at WHP. Total brain fog.
Hello. Oh my gosh.
Let me pull up your PowerPoint here.
Thank you, Moon. I know I'm figuring out the All right. Thank you. And it's hard to believe that I have done this now for 8 straight years, but in fact, that would be correct. This is open enrollment 8. So, and for those of you who have been at the October meeting in the past, y'all know I usually come with like hundreds of flyers, and I encourage and beg you to take them out into the universe. But this year, because of COVID, we're doing things different. And at the end, I'll just tell you how if you can want flyers in bulk, where to get them. But if you can just take some flyers out, that would be great. This is going to be pretty short, sweet, to the point. Go ahead if you want to advance, Moonson.
Sure.
So this has been my second slide pretty much for 8 years. So the Affordable Care Act, signed into law March 2010. That is 10 years ago. So that is responsible for providing healthcare coverage to in excess of 20 million citizens across the country. So it's been a great benefit for many, many, many folks. Next. Some of the highlights of the ACA, no annual lifetime limits on coverage, no pre-existing condition exclusion, kids can stay on their parents' insurance until 26, caps on total out-of-pockets, preventative services are free, and the insurance companies have to spend more money on actual medical expenses. So it's an 80 to 85% medical loss ratio. And if you know anybody, or if you were somebody who might have been on the marketplace this past year, you might have noticed that people on Molina coverage actually got a little refund. And I believe the refund was due to the fact that they weren't actually meeting that 80, 85% medical loss ratio, and they actually had to do a little refund for folks. It was nothing to write home about. It was not going to get you a trip to Disney World or anything, but they weren't paying attention, and they do have to provide more coverage for healthcare, which seems like a logical thing for an insurance company to do. Next. So this is, again, the Affordable Care Act has been in front of the Supreme Court twice now, and it's happening again, November 10th, so the week after the election. But the long and short of it is the ACA was determined to pass constitutional muster. The individual mandate was allowed. They didn't necessarily say that states had to expand Medicaid. You can do the next slide, Moon, if you want. This was what the country looked like in March 2016. So the blue states are your Medicaid expansion states. So as we know, Michigan is one of them. And you can advance it again. And the country has gone blue as far as Medicaid expansion. So more and more states are expanding Medicaid. And many, many of those states are red states, but doing a blue thing. So so we're down to, I think, just, it says 12, but I think there's even one more that's coming on board. Some states passed Medicaid expansion by popular vote, and some legislatures just got clued. But the long and short of it is Medicaid expansion is becoming more popular, not less popular. Next slide. And then this is sort of what things look like in light of the Supreme Court case coming up November 10th. So it's quite dramatically different from the slide before, which showed all kinds of blue states supporting Medicaid expansion. And then this. So I wouldn't put any money on how the court is going to rule on this. We'll just have to wait and see. And, you know, part of me wonders if they're not going to kind of do what they did before and sort of bifurcate the case and separate out Medicaid expansion from the marketplace, and maybe say Medicaid expansion stays because it's literally in 39 states, and the marketplace goes by, or if they just find the whole thing unconstitutional. Oh, you can go ahead. That's fine. As you can see, since 2010, the number of uninsured in the country consistently went down and down and down until a change in our administration, and we got a new guy in the White House. And now we're going in the wrong direction. So now the rate of the uninsured is going up. And we'll just see what happens. Next slide. Next one. Thank you, Moon. Oh. Oh, I think there's one more in between there.
The uninsured rates for non-elderly by race and ethnicity.
Yeah, that one. There you go. So this just, I mean, this is something we're all very, very acutely aware of at this point in time, is the health equity disparities. And as you can see, the Native Americans have the highest rate of uninsured in the country. Not very much impacting in our community, but certainly Hispanics, Black, African American, much higher rates of uninsured than white folks, Asian folks. And something we really need to be more mindful of and working towards to correct and close some of these health disparities. Next. And then the next one is, so in addition, we're kind of, this is sort of just like healthcare open enrollment period. So Medicaid, as we know, is in the Washington Health Plan as well, is open all the time for enrollment. The Marketplace is open for enrollment from November 1, so this Sunday, until December 15th. And that's for coverage starting 2021. It's also open enrollment for Medicare. So folks on Medicare who want to change their Medicare Part D prescription plan or want to get a different supplemental plan, their open enrollment period started last week, October 15th, and will go until December 7th. And I just throw this in there that if people opted out, if you come across folks, clients that opted out of the Medicare Part B because they didn't want to have to pay the $144 premium, which we find people every week, it seems like I'm helping somebody get back on Medicare. If they opted out of that Part B because they didn't think they could afford the cost or didn't want to have to pay for it, if they are eligible for one of the Medicare savings programs through the state of Michigan, they can get what we would call bought back into Part B once their application with the state is approved. And we can restore their Medicare Part B and also make sure that they're enrolled in a prescription Part D plan with extra help, because if they're eligible for any one of the Medicare savings programs, they're also eligible for extra help. And this can help people kind of put the pieces of their healthcare coverage back together. These people often feel like they actually don't have coverage, even though they have the Medicare Part A, the hospitalization coverage, free of charge, that never goes away. They don't really understand that they have coverage that they can actually use to go see a doctor, get prescriptions. Anyway, I just always like to remind people of that because I'm just forever still coming across folks that need help putting all their pieces of healthcare back together. Next. And this, I'm just throwing this in there, just if you ever need to see what the chart is for the different programs with healthcare coverage. M-Support Charity Care through U of M goes up to 300% of poverty. The Medicaid expansion is 138% of poverty. That's the Healthy Michigan Plan in Michigan. Down at the bottom, the SLIMB and the ALMB, those are those Medicare savings program cases I was talking about in the income limits for that. the asset limits. So just for your information, and if you ever want a document like this in, electronic form to share, just let me know and I can ship it out, no problem. Next. And finally, where to get help. And I sent flyers too, but the Washtenaw Health Plan, our number. If you want any of those OE8 flyers that I've also sent out, we have them in English and Spanish. We also just got one in Mandarin Chinese, getting it proofed one more time, and then I'll send that out to the Berry Busters. But if anybody wants a quantity of any of those 08 flyers, contact Samantha over at Chart, and she'll get those flyers to you. She'll print them and she'll get them to you. We've had food gatherers ask for bunches of flyers to put in boxes of food. I've taken bunches of flyers to one of the food distributions at the Seventh-day Adventist Church. We've taken the flyers around to different COVID testing sites, flu clinics. But if you have anywhere that you can think of, I know I asked them to tape it up in the window at BZ's, and I've taken them to Cultivate, and I'm sort of getting it around my neighborhood. And I literally have flyers in my car so that if I'm ever out somewhere and it just seems like this is a good place to advertise for healthcare coverage, I just go in and I ask, and I keep tape with me and tack so I can put stuff up. But there's no possible way we can get this word out, just one group, one organization. It really does take a collective. And this is like our kind of moment in time to really try to help get people healthcare coverage. In addition, if there are people who need the marketplace coverage, the Washtenaw Health Plan, we do have access through a private funder. We'll just call him Santa Claus. And we have funding again for this year, and we can pay the marketplace premiums for people who enroll in the lowest cost silver plan, who have incomes below 200% of the federal poverty level. So something below $25,000 a year for a single person. The lowest cost silver plan, again, for 2021 is going to be the same as it was for 2020. It's going to be one of the Molina products. The lowest cost silver plan is going to be this Molina Constant Care 4. Just so you know, that's not the plan that the HIAP, that the Health Insurance Assistance Program, the program that we can pay the premiums. We're not using that particular one because it has a higher deductible than we would like. And so we're going to actually use the second lowest cost silver plan, which is the Molina Constant Care 2. And that typically has a $0 deductible. So we're going with a slightly better plan. It's not the lowest cost silver, but the funder is completely fine with that. So literally anybody in our county who lives below 200% of poverty should absolutely have access to coverage somewhere, either through Medicaid, through the marketplace with help through getting premiums paid, through the Washtenaw Health Plan, through their own employer coverage. We really should we need to just keep knocking down that uninsured rate to 0. You all know that's where I'm trying to get to. And then finally, the last one. So it's my final screen, and I mean it. I always do mean it. It's all the work of the collective. It's all the work of all these, community agencies. It's all of you that help us get to where we are now. And we have in our county, we're doing great. We have a low uninsured rate, but we still have lots and lots of uninsured people. So we need to keep working at it. So let me open it up. That's my little shish bang presentation. But who's got questions?
Feel free to either drop it in the chat or unmute yourself.
Or if you just want.
Sheila from Safe House Center. Are
Hi,
there
Sheila.
any? Hi, how are you?
Good.
Good. I have a question. If an individual has a green card, are they eligible for any medical insurance at all or medical assistance at all?
Yes, absolutely. So people with green cards, and Sheila, you should absolutely feel comfortable just referring people to us because we
Okay.
help, immigration, healthcare is kind of our specialty.
Okay.
But if they've had a green card more than 5 years, or they got their green card based on asylee or refugee status,
Mm-hmm.
then they are eligible for Medicaid if they meet the income limits.
Okay.
So Medicaid always has two pieces: income, immigration.
Okay.
But if they've had their green card for less than 5 years, then they are absolutely positively eligible for the marketplace,
Okay.
even if they're very low income. So many of our immigrants that we help get to the marketplace that we've had to kind of take off the Washtenaw Health Plan, and we know this makes people nervous and they'd rather stay on, but we kind of help guide them. And we can get coverage through the marketplace where the tax credits that people get will literally cover the entire cost of their premium.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So they just need to, and if you go through the marketplace, then when at the end of the year, you're going to get a document from the marketplace called a 1095A. And it's kind of like what we get from our employers, like W-2s.
Yes.
And this is just another important tax document that you take to your tax preparer or you use when you're filing your own taxes. Because you're going to reconcile the tax credits you got versus the income that you reported to the marketplace. So it's important that if people's income changes throughout the year,
Mm-hmm.
that they go back and revisit the marketplace if they want at the end of the year to be sure not to owe any money.
Okay.
So if you guess right, like if I go on the marketplace next week and I'm doing my application for 2021 and I tell them my income for 2021, I'm going to guesstimate,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be $25,000 for the year. Great. And if at the end of the year, that's pretty much what I made, and I'm going to get my tax document, the 1095, and I'm going to reconcile my tax credits. And what goes back to the IRS is a form called an 8962 that would accompany your 1040. I won't owe money. I won't get money back.
Okay.
If at the end of the day, I only made, say, $18,000, but I said I was going to get $25,000,
Mm-hmm.
then I might get some of the tax credit money refunded to me. I might get money back at the end of the year.
Okay.
And vice versa. If I made more money than I reported, I could owe some of that tax credit back.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Does that make
Okay.
sense?
Yes.
Perfect.
All right. Thank you.
You are welcome.
All right. Anyone else with questions?
No questions?
You did such a good job explaining it all.
Well, and everybody's been through this so many times with me, they all know. But seriously, I'm just gonna thank you in advance for helping me get the word out. Just everywhere, anywhere. That's what we got to do. And the window is just so short from November 1 to December 15. It just flies by. And another thing is, everybody, so our Medicaid numbers in the county, we're up by almost 5,000 people from, say, March, when COVID hit, till now. So DHS has not really canceled anybody off Medicaid since March. They've had sort of a moratorium on ending people's Medicaid coverage. And really the only way you can get your Medicaid case closed is if you in writing request that they close your case, which I've done for a few people because they're not income eligible. They want to go to something else. That's fine. Other people, they're going to lose their Medicaid because technically they may actually be over income yet, but they're staying on until such time as DHS decides they got to go back to doing their renewals and reviewing people's income. So I'm just this is just a preview because at some point the state is going to reassess everybody And I think there's going to be a small wave of people who are going to be quickly determined to be over income for Medicaid, because literally everything's already been done on the DHS end. The only thing that hasn't happened is it hasn't been processed to the point of them losing their Medicaid. But this is going to come. And when it does, anybody who loses full coverage at any time during the year, whether you age off your parents' coverage because you turn 26, or you lose Medicaid because your income goes up, so everybody has a special enrollment period at that point in time. And the special enrollment period either would extend to the marketplace where you can get tax credits to help you buy private insurance, or if you have employer coverage, it would open up your employer coverage also for a special enrollment period so you could get your employer coverage. Most people who have employer offered health coverage aren't eligible for tax credits on the marketplace. And this can also apply to families. So if you have families where the coverage is affordable to the employee, but not affordable to add mom, say, and kids, please let us know, because we do have cases where we can keep people on the Washtenaw Health Plan, is what we would constitute a family glitch exception. So this would be people who don't have access to affordable coverage. They are still low income, and we are going to figure out how to fill that gap. I hope that makes sense. Good.
Thanks, Krista.
You are so welcome, Moon.
All
So
right.
thank you all. Thank you. Thank you.
Share my screen one more time. So just as
All
far as the funding update, one, I just dropped a Word document of the funding update into the chat so you can download it there, but I'm also going to pull it up on the screen here. And I'll also send this out when we get all the documents uploaded to the website, which will probably be on Thursday. But right now, we've got very limited flexible funds countywide. Right now, it's around $4,000 or so. I'm expecting that we'll probably be running out of that by the end of the week, unfortunately. We still have about $30,000 in community services block grant funds for utility assistance, as well as specific municipal funds for Pittsfield Township and for the city of Ann Arbor. So with that, let me see how I unshared this. Are there any questions in regards to our current funding status? Okay. Well, seeing none, thanks everybody for attending this month's meeting. Next month's meeting, just so you know, usually we try to have these on the 4th Wednesday of the month, but because of the Thanksgiving holiday week, we'll be moving it up to the 3rd. We'll send that out in an announcement too later on this week too. So with that, everybody have a good day. Talk to you later.
Bye, Moon.
Bye, Moon.
Thanks.
Thanks.